levels and get influenced in a way that I've wrestled with and said, okay, let's see how this fits in with what I already know. If there's only one truth, but there are different supporting posts of truth that come from different places that support that initial truth because there is a one truth. So when I said initial truth, don't get thrown off from me. 3 plus 2 is 5. 4 plus 1 is 5. 6 minus 1 is 5. 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5. 5 is the truth. Now, that's just an example. I'm not trying to get into a numerology that I don't really know as much as some of the individuals and family who listen to this platform. All I'm saying is that while we have the ultimate truth, there are many roads that we can take getting there, meaning that if you were born and raised in Nigeria, and say you were born and raised in Nigeria to a very wealthy family, and you were isolated from the world, and you don't know how the world works, and there's certain things you didn't have to bother yourself with as far as working for somebody else or being in a poor place where you have to go through the same struggles that other people go through. You're not going to see the world the same way as a person who grew up in Mississippi dirt poor in the United States and had to deal with extreme racism because in Nigeria, we know the majority of the people there are, us, African, okay? So when they see white people and that particular person who has money might get their butt kissed because they have money from a white person who would otherwise be racist to us over here if we were born and raised poor in Mississippi. So to get to that place of that person in Mississippi who grew up poor and the victim of a lot of racism to join in one truth with that person who was raised up wealthy in Nigeria and hardly saw any white people at all, they have to go through different roads. There is no way that that Nigerian, and it doesn't have to be Nigerian, it could be another person from America, but this is just an example. There is no way that that Nigerian is going to understand the walk of that person from Mississippi who grew up poor in a racist place until they come to that place and count their steps back. And so now they can see how unique their walk is. That being said, when I ascend in my consciousness and get a peek over the fence, like you see a fence behind me for privacy, but if we were narrow-minded or if we were maybe a child 3 or 4 years old, we're not going to concern ourselves with what's beyond that fence because that's all we see. That's all we see. Now, when we start to understand that we're hearing noises from the other side of the fence, we get a little taller and we see the tops of people's heads walking by, we say, wait a second, there's a big world out there. There are things that we could not see that we can now see. Or we get a glimpse of and we become curious about it. Now, I would say 100% of us with a certain level of consciousness and awareness and on a certain wavelength have had supernatural experiences, but they're not supernatural, they're just natural. A person locked on this level who thinks that all they see is all there is will say it's supernatural. But I will use the term supernatural for those who come onto the channel and don't know me and don't know what I'm all about and say, okay, we have to relate to them where they are in order to bring them up. How am I going to stand higher than someone and not reach down to where they are to bring them up? You got to go down there where they are to bring them up. You can't expect them to know where you are and just magically appear that way. You got to give them a helping hand and put your hand back in that dimension where they are, that lower dimension, and bring them up. So that being said, I'm going to speak in a dual manner, and I'm going to go deep. Like that fence that blocked our view when we were a child, when we were running around in the yard, that was a barrier. But it doesn't mean that what was beyond the fence does not exist. Many of us here, and again, like I said, most have had what they call supernatural experiences, things that don't fit in with what's supposed to be in that symbolic fence. The symbolic fence being that dimension that we're on. This is why it's confusing, and this is why most of us go into a deep way of thinking when we have a loved one or friend or somebody we admired as a famous person or a celebrity, which, that's not really the way to go, but something that was close to us, someone who was close to us that we're used to seeing on a regular basis who has touched our lives, who we know is real. And then they transition. And then we see a body that looks lifeless or looks like they're sleeping. And then the body has to be put away because the body is going to deteriorate. And so we can't allow the world to see that, the young children or whoever who can't handle that. And really, what's the purpose? So they put embalming fluid in the person, want to preserve them, which I think is really a step that is really unnecessary, because it's not like we're going to come back to this level and walk back up again in that same body. That's through. Just put me in a box and put me in the ground and let nature take its course, because the life force is just not there anymore. But it doesn't mean that the life force doesn't exist anymore. It's on another dimension, on another plane that we can't see. And I think most people would agree on that, regardless of religion. I'm not speaking on a religious level, I'm speaking on a realistic level. Not religion, but realism. Okay? So lots of times religion will begin in a realistic way that makes sense and not just go where it's supposed to go to explain things as they are. It takes you off into another place in your mind, hijacks it for somebody else's control and for somebody else's purpose. That's what I've seen. I'm speaking from the heart. I got my I'm not sweating as much today, but I'm ready. You know what I mean? Because I know this head can get shiny. And again, this is not scripted. This is from the heart. Just a little while ago, after I woke up and had something to eat, and I went into the living room and just sat there for a while. Sat there for a while. I don't think about what I'm going to say. Like, I'm going to say it this way, I'm going to say it that way. No, I put the camera on, but I go into a feel. I go into a zone. I go into a feel where I feel what I'm going to say. The words will come, but I feel it. Okay? So now that I'm feeling it, let me explain. I got to go all the way around each step before I come around and say what I say, so I don't look like a crazy man or a nut, or you just hang up and say, that guy's crazy. So I hope you're with me on this. So now, so if we are on this dimension, on this level called life, we were born. I think you would agree that we were born. We transition. You know you will transition, as we see in others. Okay? But when you were born, where did that energy come from? When you were born into this world on this plane, the energy had to come from somewhere. The life force had to come from somewhere. You weren't just a baby born or conceived in your mother's womb and just came out like that. Well, where where were you? Not the physical, but the life force. Where were you before the egg was fertilized to give you a body to come into this plane? Where were you? And so where will you be when you're detached from this body and you go on to another plane? Where are you going to be? Somewhere. But if we just believe what is taught on this level, looking at a body, oh, you're going to be dead. And now we are struck with all this fear that we're going to die and we are that body, and that we're just going to decompose and go back to the earth, and that's it. Well, they say in the Bible, I'm not just quoting to quote, they say the dead know nothing. Well, maybe we're dead right now to other levels. Maybe we know nothing, according to the other levels of existence that's there. Maybe we're dead in this fenced off life that has a fence around us and we can't see the other levels. Maybe that. Could you consider that? For those who are the naysayers. I don't know how I'm talking like this. It's coming out of nowhere. I guess, again, I'm downloading this off the sun. My feet are on the soil. So it's coming. So evidently, when we're on each level, we don't know about the other levels. So we have the other yards that have the fences around them, and they can't see me and I can't see them. Does that mean that they don't exist? Now, saying that, we have people in this yard, me, Mrs. Scurv, our family, and we have others in other yards that we can't see. Now, each person has their own temperament. Most people would say, Scurv is a cool guy. I can get angry like anybody else. I'm a comedian most of the time. I can tell jokes. I try to be considerate. I can be just as cutting when somebody comes to me to cut. I can be just as shrewd and cunning when they try to be shrewd and cunning on me and beat them to the punch. Many of you all have found that out. But how did he know I was an agent? I know all my agents. I know them all. Not to get off on that. I know the ones that come into the chat room and smile and say nice things and act nice with everybody. I know. I'm just sitting here like this because I'm aware of other dimensions that come within people. But now, with these other dimensions of yards, if you were to go up in a plane and say, okay, there's a yard there, there's a yard there, I see all the families playing in their yard, but they're unaware of the other families. They might come outside and knock on the door and say, can I borrow some sugar? Or do you have an extra this? Or do you have a little more of that? And reveal themselves. But pretty much when you're self contained and you're in your yard and you're having a good time, you're not really thinking about the outside world. As a matter of fact, we voluntarily, as adults, want to cut off from the outside world when we have the stresses of the outside world that are on us as far as paying the mortgage, paying the car note, paying the health insurance, which usually comes with a job. It doesn't mean that much. The health of our children, where we look at the news, which we know is propaganda, all the things we're aware about that our children are not aware about because their world is just that yard. So we willingly come in and cut off the outside world, which is pleasurable because we go back to a time when we didn't have to be that person who has to pay these bills, but we can go back to being a child when we didn't know anything, right? So they say the dead know nothing. Not that your children are dead, but they're not alerted and aware of what's beyond that fence. So let's bring this back around. So we're on this level, we're alive on this level, and we have our life force. And now it's time for us to transition. So now we transition, right? And I can't tell you what it's like to transition. I just know that you're not here anymore. But don't you know many friends that you've known that are near and dear to you that are not here anymore? Don't you know family members that are near and dear to you, and we have their frozen images, maybe on a photograph, or their moving images on a video, or maybe we saved a voicemail that they left because while they were alive, we were so caught up in living that we couldn't believe that they would leave us or go to another dimension or another level that we can't see. So we hold on to what we see. But it's like holding on to the dead body, or the body that's not operable, that doesn't have life force in it. I mean, why be scared of a dead body? The body you're in is a dead body without the life force. So this same body is the same thing, come by and spook you and make faces and whatever have you. But Hollywood and their deception has turned around something that is natural and something that is beautiful to something that's very frightening to us because we've absorbed that. Even those of you who call yourself Christian and say you know the way, when the dark comes, the little things happen, you get spooked. But why should you be spooked? If you know your friends were in your yard with you, enjoying some iced tea or some lemonade, or maybe something cooked on the grill, and they say, listen, I have to go, I'm going to go visit across the street or around the corner, then you can accept that. But with this thing called death to many people, what we call transition, they don't know when they're going. So they can't say, listen, I'll see you in the next dimension. At 10:02 tonight, I'm going to transition. Something's going to happen. It's going to remove my life force from my body. So I love you. I'll be there waiting for you. We don't have that option, but it's the same, right? So why should you be scared? For those who have had their mother transition, like I had my mother transition in April of 94, or my father transition in November of 1990. Now, for those who had good relationships or whatever proximity, even if it's not your mother or your father, because we have a lot of rotten parents out here that you may not be close to, but whoever it is that was the closest to you, that transition, that thing hit you hard because we're on that level. And if we happen to be like that child, no matter what age we are, behind that fence and can't see beyond, it's a frightening feeling. It's a feeling that leaves you with questions that need to be answered. It makes you step back and look at your life and look at yourself, and it makes you a little more careful as to how you step because you know you can be here today and gone tomorrow. So that being said, should the title of this be "So That Being Said"? Because I'm stringing it together step by step. And I don't even know the steps I'm about to say. I'm just flowing because, again, my feet are in the dirt and I'm under the sun. It's a beautiful day and I'm loving it. And if I don't make 10 videos today, Maybe this might be the one, if I only do one before the live show tonight, once I figure out how to fix my equipment, that will be the one that counts and hits home. It's not just always number. So now, you are aware that love is the most I'm not talking religion, but love is the most powerful force in this universe. I love my mother. I love my father. Just because they have detached from their body doesn't mean that my love disappears for them. If anything, because I don't physically see them on this level, it is increased even more. But whether I do or not, at this point, I would still love them just as much and the same. Now, from where they are, I know they love me. And wherever they are, in what dimension that I can't see because I'm trapped in this fence of a life, I know where they stand, they love me. I don't have to see them physically on this level to know that they love me. So now, just the same way as there were bad people in the world who do bad things, who might be my neighbor trapped in their fence, who may not see me, they are people who are bad or evil in the world, who do evil things, who suck off the life force of the good people. This happens on this level. Forget the other dimensions. This happens on this level with people that you can see. They may smile in your face, but they have another agenda going on. They may clap when you have a victory, but they're gritting their teeth, wishing it was them, and plotting and planning on the time when they can bring you down. And they will take all of their life force to bring you down. So we have these people already that we can see. So when we think that we hear something in the middle of the night or catch a movement of something out of the corner of our eye, and we look real quick and we catch it leaving out of the room, we get spooked because of that detached energy. Not that our naked eye saw it, but those of us who have a bit more advancement in the spirit world, in the next dimension, we can begin to see things that others who are trapped behind the fence of this life can't see. Right? So, the more we grow spiritually, is the more we're getting higher and being able to see over the fence to the other yards and what goes on. And once you understand that there's other yards, and I'm speaking symbolically, because somebody's going to say, what do you mean yards, Lance? Watch it. There's going to be somebody in the comment section who just doesn't get it, how I'm speaking right now. But once you begin to realize, okay, I'm in my yard, but now I see other yards. I see other houses, and I see other families over their fences, on top of their heads, and I hear noises now. I'm beginning to expand, and that's what the child does. So although we're born as a child into this dimension called life, and we get a little older, and we begin to react to the stimuli around us and understand how certain principles work, what they say, the law of gravity, and we feel hot, we feel cold, we can understand quiet, we can understand noise, we can understand things with our five senses, which are very limited on this level. You look at pick your favorite vehicle. Let's say a Toyota Camry. Let's just pick that. A Toyota Camry in 2020 is not the same Toyota Camry that we had in 2000. It's not the same Toyota Camry that we had in 1985. Because every year that comes, there are upgrades. So every year that we pass through on this level, we get upgrades. And we become, if we're doing things right, if we're seeking that level of going higher, the next level, we get upgrades. So now when we see something, we're not as easily fooled when we see it. For example, a person who is deceptive, because now you have enough upgrades over the last 10 years that what fooled you 10 years ago will not fool you now. There are people who now can come near me and walk past me, behind me, and to the side, and I might glance down and see their foot, but I can feel them and know what's inside. If I'm correct and right in my mindset and in my life, if I'm meditated up, if I'm still, if I'm eating the clean foods that don't upset me, and I keep myself a certain way, I know who you are. I don't even have to see your face. I can see your username on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. You can type a few words in that are nice to me, but I can feel the energy behind it. And some of these individuals say, well, I could never get on a good foot standing with Scurv because he never lets me in. I say the right things. I believe I held the right key to get into his inner circle to bring information out to others, even if it's just for my own amusement or I'm working for an agency. How does this guy know to keep me away and let others in? Because I got my upgrades. So now the battle never begins. Oh, sorry, excuse me. The battle always is, right? But the battle never ends. I have another sentence I want to say in 5 minutes that begins in it. Watch me, mark my words. The battle never ends on this level, and the battle never ends when we transition to the next level. Because what energy that you had in you, even though it was encapsulated in this body, when the body goes, what do you think? It's going to turn good all of a sudden if you're bad? Or if you're a mixture? Or if you're confused? Or if the things that you have, the things that you never conquered on this level, it's going to remain unconquered. This is why while you're on this level, you have to do what it is that you have to do before you transition and conquer those levels, because those things will hold you back. You cannot go to the next level with the mind and the essence of the prior level. You can't go to a level where you have 7 senses and 8 senses and 10 senses, and you can see colors that this dimension couldn't afford you. There are colors that the human eye could not process, yet colors that the human eye has never seen. Can you imagine that? There's sounds that the human ear can't understand because they come from other dimensions, but you have to conquer this dimension to be able to be ready to be a baby again in the next dimension and start the process over again. So we have to understand that as we pass through these dimensions, it's almost like the old video game Super Mario. And every time it grabs something, it gets stronger. Every time it grabs it again, but there's some things that hit it and knock it off altogether. Hit you and knock you off this plane called life. Hit you because of your alcoholism and how your liver shriveled up, knock you off of life. Hit you because you were promiscuous and lustful and couldn't stop sleeping with strangers, so you caught AIDS or you caught some kind of disease, full blown, whatever, and messed you up. You were argumentative, always looking to fight somebody. So now you're in a restaurant and some man is staring at your woman, and you get mad at him and say, "Come on outside, I got something for you, what you looking at?" And this guy shoots and kills you. So sometimes things happen on their time, and sometimes I believe, or I can't say I know, I have to say I kind of lean toward, but I don't want to say believe because, I'm trying to outlaw that word on my videos. But I lean toward understanding that we can knock ourselves out of our mission ourselves and probably have to repeat the process. And if you do feel that, well, you don't come back, well, how are you going to take something? Do you take a third grader who has flunked every class and put him in the 4th grade? Do you expect him to excel? Do you expect him to be a better version? It doesn't work that way. You must go through every single step. There's no way that you can build a beautiful home and all of a sudden think that you can put the windows in, but there's no house. You can put the roof on a non-existent house that doesn't have a foundation. How are you going to do that? How are you going to string up electrical wires and plumbing when you have no walls? How are you going to do that? You see, so how are you going to run power to the house through the wires that you put in the house, but it's not connected to the power that's coming in? It ain't going to happen. So even in building, this is why builders, when left alone, can usually see a little more than a person who wants their house built. So we'll have the person who wants their house built and they're paying the contractor and they say, well, can you do this? And the builder looks over something that doesn't even exist. And he says, no, we can't do it that way because the grade here is too steep. We have to look at how the water runs off. We're building on sand, so we have to make sure to secure this or that. Different aspects of customization. They have to know because they can see. So this is why we have shamans. And we have those that are gifted on a spiritual level who can see what you can't see, and you go to them to ask them questions. We have a lot of shysters out here. We have a lot of fraudulent people out here. But one I will recommend to you, Dr. Kang. He is the real deal. Let me take this time to say that about Dr. Kang. No one, and absolutely no one, who has ever gone to him to ask him for spiritual or physical health has he ever gone wrong. I'm putting my bottom dollar, my last breath on that because I have witnessed and experienced it, and he has done it for me. This is why people say, well, after you visited Dr. Kang and spent time with him in Maryland and time with him in Houston for the 2 weeks that you stayed with him, you came back and you're a little different. It's the same face. I tell the same jokes. I have the same memory, right? But there's something else in me that has helped me to go to a different level. So now I, like the contractor, even though I'm not the contractor, when I go back home to my family and they say, can we build it this way and can we build it that way? And I say, yes, we can. Why? Because the contractor told me, because he sees, and this is what he specializes in. So understand, I said all of this to say that there are different levels of existence. Some we can't see, some that we do see. Some that, depending on our level on this plane, we have five senses, but some of us get a vision of the sixth sense, or use of a sixth sense, that we're rewarded in glimpses, many of us. And there's some of us who have the sixth sense already. We have a sense from the next level of spirituality, the next level of existence. Maybe I'm getting some of the words wrong. And that puts us at an advantage, so that as you walk down the street and you have the sixth spiritual sense, it's not touch or taste or hear or whatever else the other ones are, because I'm in the zone right now too. Feet on the ground and under the sun. You can go to them or you can watch them. They may not be the kind of person to say that I am this, come, I'll help you. They may be a regular person who may be underdeveloped in other areas of their life. And sometimes I've run into people like this, that they have a hard time with what they see. They're walking down the street and you're walking down the street with them. And then you say, or they say to you, oh no, you say to them, wow, I wonder where those five guys came from. And the person next to you says, what are you talking about? Five guys, I see two. Well, you see three that they don't see. So now you keep to yourself, you say, oh, my eyes will blurry up. And then you say to yourself, I know I saw those five people. That's the beginning. It happens on simple levels like that. You can be in your home and see something standing next to you out the corner of your eye. And it may be where you feel it's your eye, but one eye of the two, your lenses, but it's really your third eye, your eye. You're looking at things through a spiritual eye. So sometimes we have to understand that we have to get rid of this vision and see things through the other eye that's beginning to wake up. When you wake up in the morning, sometimes, depending on our diet, if you eat dairy, if you eat meat, if you eat all kind of stuff, you wake up with this big slob of yogurt in the corner of your eye. Big dollop of cottage cheese in the corner of your eye. Sometimes when you have the flu or something, you're sick and mucus is coming out of you. Sometimes your eyes are glued together. You're like, man, what's going on? Well, that's what happens with our third eye when we begin to wake up. And we went through most of our life. Some of us have it wide open when we come here. And some of us, it's so natural to us. And some of us who are children, 5 and 6 and 7 and 8, we have that eye wide open. And we say things that the older folks say for his age or her age. They're way ahead of the game. I don't understand how you can know something like that, but they're still a child, right? Some of us have that from young and allow this world to destroy that because we regress and we go against what we see and we trade that in just for what's here. And that's wrong. And you pay a price for that. I was always one who saw a little more, but I'd say in my teen years and 20s, I backed away from that to get into the carnal with as many women as I can get my hand on. So I had that eye and it was open and I kind of was ahead of the game with what was around me, and I could use that to get what I wanted on that carnal level, which was wrong. And it was so easy for me. I'd make you think you was a woman, that it was you when it was really me. Not manipulation, but just knowing how to position myself that you run into me. And so on and so forth. And we have other people who use it for crime. They use it for game and deception. They use it to work their way up into a power structure. I'm going to be the CEO of this company before the next 10 years, but for the next 3 years, and I'm going to use it to wheel and deal my way, turn people against each other, manipulate, and get myself in that position. Well, nothing here will last very long because when you see how long life is, when you compare it to eternity, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. So, as far as I'm concerned, you have to take your time and gather the skills, the skill set, the awareness, the abilities, the eye, hone that so you're better off when we get to the next level. Now, that being said, what's the next level? The next level that I wanted to say, I said all that to come to an understanding. If I missed you on something, please go back because I think I was very thorough on it. On these next levels, we have energies that were here before, or maybe not here before. Don't quote me on that. I still have a lot of learning to do, but they're not good. They're evil. They're fallen. They're carnal. They don't want to go higher and get better. They have fallen in love with the lower levels and lower vibrations. And so for them to exist as a big fish in a little pond, they would rather be in the place where we have the five senses so they can rule. See? So we have those who are trying to get out of this and go higher with good intentions. And we have those on those next levels who have good intentions. So in this world, if they can feed off of negative energy and keep certain situations going, because most of us are blinded and carnal anyway, they have a never ending supply of negative life force from which to feed on, and they will feel happy and full on this level. And yes, we cannot see them. They are from a different dimension and they operate beyond sight. And I explained it. You have a fence around you when you're a child. You can't see beyond that. So we have people who might be on the other side of the fence who are wiser than you, doing things to you, and you can't explain why. You have something on your barbecue near the fence. You turn your back to go inside to go to the restroom, and now all the stuff that's on your barbecue is gone. And now you think, oh man, something real spooky is happening, and this is supernatural. No, it's very much natural. It's just that that's a natural that you're not aware of. Somebody reaching over the fence and coming back to do something to you. Just like we have entities that come back into this dimension, and yes, they can jump dimensions. And for those of us who have that eye wide open, we can see things. And it might not necessarily be that we see a body form. It might be a shadow. It might be cold that you feel in a warm room. It might be something with when you're outside is dark and you still have the blinds cracked, which that's one of my pet peeves. I'm not gonna let nobody walk up to my window and see it, so I'm gonna keep the blinds a certain way. And please, if you're higher up, don't put your blinds this way. Put them this way. If you're lower, put them that way, so nobody can come between the blinds and look. I'm just paranoid. Anybody who's like that will understand what I'm trying to say. But we can see these things and we can feel these things on so many different levels. Signs. It doesn't come all the time really huge. It's not going to step in front of you and say, hey, how you doing? I'm from the next dimension. I'm coming to FUCK with you. No, it will go through and work through another person who is sold out to the carnal, also a kindred spirit. And now we have different reasons to be. There will always be reasons for us to come against each other because of these disembodied energies that float amongst us that manipulate us for their cause. If you're sold out to porn and this energy is still caught up in all things decadent on a sexual level, and it doesn't have a body, imagine the pain and suffering of what that disembodied thing, spirit, energy is going through. It needs a body to enjoy the lower levels. So now you're watching porn and you're fantasizing about some extreme fetish of some pairing that will probably never happen in natural circumstances. And this thing is right there with you. Oh, okay, this is what you like. I see. You kind of freaky. But you know what? I'm disembodied. I know over there in the house across the street that there's somebody looking at the same thing who looks like the person you're viewing, and you look like them, but you don't know what's going on in your mind. You say, good morning, and you're thinking, you're looking at them and then looking at you. How do you both get together? What is the force that every time you say that you want to clean up from something, there's something else coming along to tempt you even more so? Now, I use the porn example because with us men, that's a big issue. It might be where you're trying to stop smoking or stop drinking or stop sniffing coke or stop stealing or stop cussing. There'll always be a situation that when you consciously make up your mind to say, you know what, I'm going to stop this, then it's something that comes along. I remember back in the day when I said, listen, I ain't no homo, but I got to cool out with the women. I got to cool out with the women. Because anyway, it got to a point where certain women, like, oh, yeah, like, oh, so and so, so. And those, oh, yeah, I heard about you. Oh, you freaky out. Whoa, it's too much momentum. This is going to be my downfall. I had enough of the eye, open enough to know, listen, I put my foot in this thing thinking I'm going to enjoy it, but I need to run and run fast. This is one of the reasons why I began to eat after I stopped training to eat. I wanted to make myself unattractive to those entities that were coming at me to put me in a situation that I was weak for. That was one of my ways of running away from it. I stopped bodybuilding. That was one of the reasons why, because I got a peek into a world that almost like symbolically. Now I'm going to use a Bible, a story, just to let you know what I'm trying to convey. I'm not saying this or that, right? But when they said Satan was on top of the mountain with Jesus and saying, this can be yours, but what's the catch? So when those entities told me, or didn't say it, they showed me that you can have all of these women and you can have this money and you can live this life. They were welcoming death and transition earlier on because they knew I had a job to do on this level. And I saw all of this and I got scared. Not like punk scared, but scared like this is a wake-up call. I need to get away from this because why me? Because even the evil entities of this level will understand that when you have a gift or gifts to offer the world, because you're put in a position, that strategic position doesn't mean that you're the end all and cure all, but when you have a gift and this next person has a gift and there are gifts sprinkled out all over the world, that together, when you use your gifts together, you're going to cut a hole in evil. You're going to cut them out of this world and you're going to actually kill them and stop them from inhabiting other people and influencing other people into death and doom and destruction. Almost like death, domination, and destruction when we speak about the European history. So if it's death, domination, and destruction with most Europeans, then we should just write them off. But even then, they serve a purpose. And right now, they're raising hell all over the planet. And it's quite evident, no matter how much they try to change their history, but what spirit is in them? What is the unseen thing that's benefiting from having them run amok and kill countries and destroy people for their greed, for their wanting to conquer the world, for them to want to conquer nature, for them to want to destroy African people that are born with this innate spirituality that's so deep that they can't reach? I will say they have more of a propensity to not having that ability. So it's easy for them to run around and growl like a dog because they got that in them. Cat, rat, and dog. It's in the DNA. But we have to look past that and see that while they are like that, if we focus just on that, we will forget what's behind it. You understand? I'm not giving excuse why they are the way they are. They are the way they are. They have proven that. I cannot deny that. But guess what? In this fence, in this yard, we see what we see. But maybe some of us have gotten to peek over the fence. Oh, there's more to it than meets the eye. So while we got to fight them, let's not focus on them as much as what's behind them. We're going to fight them if they colored us that way. Even those of us or those of them who look like us. Come on now. How many of us have screwed us over just as much, if not more, than the Caucasoid race? That we see them and say, hey, brother, we give them a pass because, okay, you my color. So you must understand what I'm going through. Yeah, man, I understand, man. You know, this race is a hell of a thing. This system is a hell of a thing. And you hear them echoing back things to you that you've been through, and you drop your guard. You say, man, this brother got to be on the up and up. He's like me. But talk is cheap. That's why, for me now, I know what it is. I know what's coming at me. I know chances are, if you get that privilege in this world that your forefathers put you in because of their stealing and raping of the planet, I already know pretty much where you're coming from. I already know pretty much behind the smile how you really feel about me. I know pretty much you don't want me around unless you have a task for me to build something for you, to do the dirty work for you, or to be that object of pleasure for you. And don't be fooled by that. Black man and black woman, African man, African woman, child of the sun, melanated, stolen African, original of the planet. Why is it now that they're getting next to you and wanting to interbreed with you, and they, because they see your energy, and now their energy stores are getting drained because we're waking up to who they are. And now the very thing that we've been indoctrinated into thinking is better than what we have, that secret desire for the white woman. No, not me, but I understand through many brothers that I've talked to, and I understand how it worked in slavery and how the forbidden fruit syndrome is, and how we wanted to be. We didn't know or weren't taught how to be ourselves, which is the greater manifestation. So we all we knew was when we saw that white man who had the business suit on, who back in the 80s had a cell phone that was expensive as hell to have, but he's posturing, he's on business, he has a limo coming up, and he has a suit, and he has millions, and here we are poor in the hood, and we want to be a man too. But that was the only example of a man that was shown to us, and that was the example of what we were taught in school that we had to go to. So here we are in our suits, and we're trying to talk just like him. And we do it so well, we outdo him in who he is. But yet and still we can't understand when we get to that pinnacle why he doesn't accept us. It's like a mother who has a son, and the son grows up now and calls himself a transsexual and chops off his organs and put hormones in them. So if I took a cat and took the cat's teeth and put dog's fangs or dog's teeth in his mouth and gave him a long dog tail and did something to the vocal cords that he's not doing, yeah, is he a dog? No, he's a confused cat. So we can't get away from who we are. But we, as young black men and many black women, had that European ideal put up and brainwashed into us and beat into us from the plantation. So for us who are black men who are wayward in our thinking and off, we look at the white woman and say, "Ooh, that's got to be something good. The white man rules the world, and that white woman must be something." So now every little hint of attention we get from the white woman, oh yes, oh, because that brings us closer to being between those thighs. And again, like that child at the five and dime store who may be 5 years old or 4 years old, who wants to drive a car so bad, he sees that little up and down vehicle that doesn't go nowhere, but it rocks like this and it has a wheel and a seat, and you sit him in there and you put the diamond, and he's for a second, he thinks he's riding. He thinks he's driving. So, mommy, look, I'm driving. Mommy, I'm driving. You ain't driving. You ain't driving nothing. You don't have what it takes to drive a vehicle at that particular point. So many of our brothers who, in their desire to want to be that white man so bad who is ruling over the world, but only follows that example that he's told that is impossible to achieve, because once you get there, they're not going to accept you. When you think just like when you get behind the wheel of that little toy car that moves up and down, and when you get between the legs of a white woman, it's not just sex that you feel, but in your mind you've made it. Oh, I'm looking down and I see this white woman. Look at the breasts, look at the thighs. The thighs opened up for me. Oh my God, she is moaning because of what I'm giving to her. She feels it. I am a white man. Subconsciously, that's what you're saying to yourself. It's not just another piece of whatever. Some of us look at, well, you can look at that with her. But it's not like, you know, and then at the same time, when our sisters come to us in true love and connectedness and a sincere love that goes beyond the sensual, beyond sex, we throw her away. Because in this society, we're taught that she's nothing. So this is about separation and unity. We need to unify with all things that are good and common. And we need to get rid of all things that are not good and not unified for the common good. That's our mission. And lots of times now, we're going to have to begin to peek over our fences and look and see the other yards around us and what they're really all about. And if they are bad, you have to go after them in a wise way to snuff that energy. And you can't let it come around you to snuff yours or infiltrate your household, infiltrate your community, and tear your family up, because once your stuff is gone, somebody else is there to benefit from it. If you can't pay for your car and they repossess it, what you think they're gonna put it somewhere and wait for you to come up with the money? No, they're gonna be looking to sell it right away. If you can't pay the mortgage on your home and they foreclose on it, do you think they're gonna let you, oh, just stay up in there for the rest of your life? We understand you'll come up with the money. No, it's about the sale. You getting out, they getting the sheriff to get you out, the law enforcement to get you out, and you come back in a month or two, and there'll be some other kids out there playing, and somebody else said, boy, honey, I had a hard day at work coming in. It's so glad to be home. You're like, home? Wait a second. Oh, that's my home. No, it's not. So don't get so caught up in this gift of a life. Enjoy it by all means, but be aware of what is coming and waiting for us from the other dimensions that will be there when we get there, and that are coming back now to take advantage and turn us against each other. So I'm not going to go anymore. I've been instructed by a higher mindset to speak on these things, but I'm going to give you a taste of it right now, and let's roll with the rest of it. I'm not saying I'm the all seeing, but I've been gifted with people that love what we do here, and they share with us and say things to stimulate us. And like I said, I want to always be running hot on consciousness, meaning that I don't want to say, oh, I got to a level of consciousness, I'm cool. No, I want to see what's the next level and what's the next level. And lots of us sometimes, because of our past, because of our upbringing, we feel that, well, it's always going to be this the way I see it. How many times have you, in your maturity, years after you were so absolute that this is what it was, all of a sudden say, whoa, I've learned and I see how it operates? Again, the airplane analogy. We live in a little town that's our whole world. But the minute you hit the airport to go to another state, another country, and you're going up in the airport, going up in the airplane, and you're looking down, you say, this is where I live, this little old place. Those clumps of houses, look how small it's getting. And you look across the horizon by the clouds, and you see how far the horizon goes. And you realize how small you've been in your thinking, that this is vast, that there are people who love us and we love them, that already transitioned to the other levels, but are they ready? Are they ready? And I'm going to wrap this up. I just want to say one more thing. Sending out Jesus memes to me or others all day, every day, is not going to raise your level of consciousness. All you're doing is hitting a button and throwing something. But if what you're doing is so effective, show me what it's doing in your life. Show me your ascension. Oh, he's blaspheming. Am I? I'm asking you to show me. If you say that you have a car that can go 500 miles an hour, let's go to the track that can handle vehicles going at 500 miles an hour. But the minute you tell me I'm supposed to accept this, I'm sending you a 500-mile-an-hour sports car advertisement, and I want you to give me $500,000 so you can get this car. Well, I might like to have that car, which I know how to drive fast, and I'm a very good driver. I just don't push it because of knuckleheads that are out here. But you got to show me if I spend that money on that vehicle. So for all of you who are closet decadents, who are morbidly obese because of something that you need to correct on the inside, who are pathological liars, but will look in the person's face and say that they did not do, that you didn't do something that I see and I actually watch you do it. For those people who I happen to know in the melanated family who are not on the levels that they're supposed to be on yet, don't send me no Jesus memes when I know good and darn well what you're doing. I know I need correction and I'm always seeking it. But it seems like with these types, they only get a rise to feel good about themselves away from what they do by taking something and throwing it at you and sitting back. But you're sitting there in a stagnant place and have never changed and have actually regressed. Don't do that, no matter what religion it is. If I'm free of the mind control and the shackles of religion, I'm not going to play that game. I love the Creator. I love the one who made me. I love that one. It may not be what you call it, but don't tell me that I don't know that there is a creator. The word God is too small because that's a European thing. See, I've learned. I haven't talked like this before, but I'm learning. I've analyzed. I weighed it up. So how are you going to tell me that I don't believe in a God which I don't. I believe in a creator who made me, which is greater than a God, because the God that you say is bipolar, contradictory to themselves if you're going according to that word. There are very good things in that word. But I got to peek over the fence. And this is why many pastors will tell you you're not supposed to go and study under anybody else. Or if you're a Jehovah's Witness, you're not supposed to go and study, because they're scared. They want to keep the hustle of you going on. Because they are carnal. They don't care about the next level. They're not talking about righteous spirituality. They want you in religion, because religion is going to run you around in a circle, in a circle, in a circle, while they take your money, take your body, take your loving, take your heaven on earth, take all of your resources. That's all they see us as resources, whether they're the spirit in human form, or that entity, that disembodied energy, spirit if you want to call it, that wants to just suck from you, because they can still suck from you. You don't even see it. Let me just tell you something. I've said it before. You think, and I'm gonna say it decent because this video has pretty much been decent, and I know you want to show it to your kids, but when you are aroused, I'll say it this way, in a state of arousal, without a partner there to accommodate what you crave, wink wink, and the fingers do the walking, and you bring yourself to this pinnacle, this climax, this wonderful moment, do you think you're the only one there? Why were you aroused in the first place? Maybe it's something putting something in your brain, in your mind, manipulating you, because for you to give off that energy without anyone receiving or being part of it, those things that are put in your head, because you don't think about the stock market report, you don't think about crime in the Philippines when you're at that moment, you don't think about the next rare cuisine you're going to eat, not cuisine at least you're going to eat. You're thinking those type of thoughts. Who's putting those things in your head? And it's not something just light and lovely, whatever. It's usually something decadent. Tonight, next week, it's more decadent. The month from that, you're like, man, I'm getting twisted in my thoughts. So who's putting those thoughts in your mind, and who's benefiting from the free energy of release that you're giving out to the universe? And they'll give you some good ones too. You'll be like, oh man, this is better than when I was with the other person over there. Come on now, you know what I'm talking about. Just understand that we're being manipulated on so many different levels. Seen, many of us can't even deal with the things we see. We say, listen, that person over there playing you. That person want to marry you. They don't want to marry you because they love you. They see your resources. They see your positioning. They see your home. They see the benefits of if you die, what they'll get. But they blew your mind as well as other things and have you thinking it's love. I'm not always like this where I'm paranoid over everybody. It's not paranoia. It's being aware. So I'm going to go on the next level when I go into the next video, but I want you to tell me what road you want me to go up on, and I will consult with those who I consult with that will drop a little something on me. This is not no secret handshake business. I'm not into that, because as vast as the universe is, how is a limited creature going to tell me that they know all these secrets of the universe and they just got here and they can't even control them damn selves? They're not at a point of being so light that they can levitate. I don't mean just taking your feet up off the ground, although we have people who can do that. They're not going to do it in front of you and reveal themselves, but in your spirit, levitate. Why is it that this thing have people wearing the mask and run around crazy and scared, and I'm sitting here in my yard just enjoying myself, feeling light, not even thinking about what's out there or what they want us to have, the fear they want us to have so they can suck from us? We're like an all-you-can-eat buffet when we have this mass hysteria and mass fear going on. I mean, daggone it, COVID-19, everything it pops up on. I mean, you go to a website, boom, COVID-19. Oh, COVID-19. Donald Trump update every day. COVID-19. I mean, everywhere you go, places that you're not even supposed to see it. Next, you'll see some paper that you have in your bathroom. You finish wiping up. Wait, COVID-19? What the hell? You know what I mean? Why? Because they're feeding on the fear. They already have a cure if this is something to have a cure on. But like I said, where's the flu? Where's the heart attacks? Where's the diabetes? Where's the overweight, clogged artery, things that happen to make us sick and die? We don't hear from that. So they toe tag you with coronavirus. Everything is coronavirus. But why? The world is changing. We need to deal with reality, not so much religion, because where are the religious people and religious leaders who claim to have all these answers or have something come down and, you know, some sky daddy save you? Where are they now? Where are they now instead of asking you, send in your tithes? Give me a word. Give me, give me, give me something that I can hold on to that lets me know what's really going on at this particular time. Don't just throw things at me. Get away from me. If that's all you can do is send me memes, you're annoying me. You're not giving me an answer because you're not connected to something that is not giving you an answer. Or you can just throw verses and memes and what is it doing in your life? If you if you fat as a pig, how is that helping you to lose weight? If you dumb as a doorknob, how is that helping you to get smarter and get more intelligent, more smarts to learn how to navigate the shark-infested waters of this world? You're just throwing things at me. You don't even know how to unlock the seeds of potential inside of you, the seeds of greatness that are inside of you that are guaranteed that can show me, and then I will follow because I'm going to want to know how you did it. How can you walk so great in this world when everybody else is falling and wilting and they're scared and they're winding down and starting to freak out and you're getting stronger? You can't show me that. So if you can't show me that, don't show me nothing that you claim that is that when it can't be that in your life. Get away from me. I want the real thing. I want to peek over the real fence. I want to climb over the real fence. I'm not saying I want to transition, but I want to see beyond this level where there's five senses, this third dimension, these five senses. I want the sixth and seventh and eighth sense. That's true power because when you transition, it makes it an easier transition. Because when you come into that new level of existence and leave this body back behind, those who are there to guide you say, well, you know what? You're like that student who studied and did so much more in the fifth grade and learned the sixth grade curriculum well, took the test and passed them. So there's no need for you to go to the sixth grade now as a fifth grader who is brilliant. We're skipping you to the seventh grade. I want to be skipped. I don't mind if I get to the next dimension and I'm there, but let me be pre-armed with the knowledge instead of being pre-armed where I gotta follow celebrity gossip or I gotta climb up on Lance's page and see if I can get more hits than him or find out his personal business and go back and tell the other one who he don't be bothered with no more, but he think that I'm here because I want to be, but I'm really trying to pick his brain to go run back. I know who all of you are. I know who I watch you. Hey, what's more power to you, brother? Hey, sister. And I know the real ones. It's not time for me to move on and get rid of you. Some of you get rid of and they come back. Okay, you came back. You really got a mission, don't you? Right? Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up with that. Know that I speak out of love. I don't know how long I'm out here. I said it was going to be a little longer than a small snippet, but I think, wow, I got a little bit extra sun. And I'm happy to be here. I have to make my runs right now. That's the only reason why I'm stopping it. By the time this video goes up, it'll probably be a little later. You're probably going to say, well, Scurv did say he was going to live stream something, which I still might do. But I got to go pick up some more pieces of equipment that I need to work along with what I have, and I have to come back and correct what I have. So it may be this as of now and tonight's show, and maybe one quick live stream when I'm out there because I want to keep like a speed bag, a boxer hitting the speed bag, boom, 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 boom. I want to keep it going. I want to keep it going. I want to keep the movement going. Sometimes the punch is hard. Sometimes the punch is soft. Whatever it is, you got to keep your punches going. And this is how we do battle. And then we have a time to sharpen our swords and rest. And as I sharpen my sword, we come here and we speak wisdom. Wasn't Brother Kwaku brilliant last night with what he had to share? Just sat right down there and let it flow. He didn't have to go on social media and create memes about a Sky Daddy and send them to you and then sit back. Because in actuality, when we have these people that do that, they're really envious of the work that you're doing, that they can't do it and won't do it because they can't dislodge themselves from something that is dead. And they see you doing the living, breathing work. And you're doing it in an ego-free manner. I don't know what gets me out here every single day. It's something divine. It's what I'm supposed to do. Whether one thanks me or not, whether one donates or not, whether one does whatever or not, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter to me because it makes it easier for me when I do get help on different levels, but it's something that has to be done anyway. If I have a yard to clean and a front yard to keep clean, or the homeowners association is going to fine me, I'm not doing it out of fear of that. I'm doing it because I have the pride to do it anyway. But if somebody comes and helps me out, it is much appreciated because it helps me to get us there better, and it helps us to have an overall community that is beautiful to the eyes of all. And while I may physically be living next door to a person who might be rotten, who might be nosy, who might be selling drugs, we have to see ourselves beyond the physical constraints of the bigger community all over the world. And this is why on melaninenvy.com, I have it every state in the United States. And tonight I'm going to work on every country in the motherland, Africa, and other countries where we can join up in those particular locales and then come together as a family, independently of Facebook, Twitter, Google, and all the other things out there that infiltrate our privacy and try to guide us and manipulate us. And if we say the wrong thing against the agenda, they want to put us in jail. Well, there won't be none of that on Melanin Envy. And again, what I say, send to me your desired username, your preferred, your preferred, okay, let me get it right. Your login email address, your preferred username, the way exactly you want it spelled, with the uppercase, with the lowercase, with the this, or that, whatever it may be, and your preferred temporary passcode that you can change later on. Okay? And that's for us. And it's not ruled by anybody. I'm the chief admin. I guess I'm the president of it all. But I'm going to do right by everybody. And I'm not going to censor you for talking about the enemy. When you're on the same way, the enemy's platforms, we can't have black people getting together like that, like this in real unity and saying real truth. Illuminati, should we get rid of them? Yeah, let's get rid of them. None of that here. Even though we know that those factions can infiltrate any platform that is independent of them, it'll be much less of that. So, on that note, it's been very nice speaking to you. Again, thank you for the spiritual help, the financial help, the help of just being there and vibing with me, to send me just random texts. Hey, Lance, I like what you're doing. Hey, Lance, I think you should change this. Hey, Lance, whatever. I'm here. Sometimes I don't get a chance to really answer back immediately because of my running around to do things and do so much. I'm not just saying, I do so much, so I'm better than everybody else. No, I'm running hard sometimes, but it's a joy and a labor of love. It's a joy and a labor of love. And Brother Quaku, Mr. Scurv, myself, Carrie Lux, everybody else who's connected in, Sister Miko, Segment 7, who else? Give me more of a name, or whatever. There's so many names that are with us. And we are made in a special way that maybe I can't reach you, but this person, the other person, Carrie Lux, can reach you in a way that that I can't. Or a Segment 7 can reach you in a way that I can't, right? Or a Curious Cat can reach you in a certain way that I can't. Oh, I got the name. She said, you didn't forget. I don't forget anybody. And I want to thank you, Ella G, for helping to hold the glue of all things Lance Scurv together. I want to thank Sister Angie G on the WhatsApp tip. These are sisters who have given their time. I mean, just giving their time, and it helps. And trust me, there's so much stuff. I'm still falling behind, but I'm going to take it on the chin and make things right. And again, many of you have not been receiving email updates because I've been so behind that the last time I put something on landscurv.com was March 18th. This is coming up on the end of April. So I've got to do, after doing 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 videos a day, bring up all those dates. And that's like 5 days straight worth of work. But am I going to not do a video for 5 days straight? No. So you see what I'm dealing with. But, send your positive energy to me. Think good thoughts about the platform. Share it. In any way I can improve on a technological level, let me know. And send your clips in. If you want to get put in the video, like sometimes in the intro, before the show starts, or in the middle of the show, like a commercial, and you have something to say, I'm telling you, hold the phone up. You want to hold it up this way. Let me. I mean, most people hold it up the Facebook way like this. But when you do record something, do it this way, so that on YouTube it fills up the whole screen, because that's the way the screen looks on YouTube. So hold your camera up this way when you record a video clip. Now, I'll accept it this way, but it's more work for me and might not get put up. If you want it put up, send it to me this way. Record your video holding the camera this way as opposed to that way. You hold it this way. If you want to talk for 2 or 3 minutes, if you want to talk for 10 minutes and I chop it up or whatever have you, I'll put you on the videos here of Lance Scurv. It'll go on there if you have something really relevant to say. I dare you. Or if you have a family member or somebody who may be an elder and also an older, because all elders are not elders. You can have somebody who is younger who is an elder. But anybody that you know, let me go down to the lady down the block. I think she'd be good to hear on Lance Scurv's show. And say, what you said to me as far as words of wisdom, can I just record a minute? Trick them, just a minute. when a minute comes, just keep them going. That's my trick. That's what I do. Just come talk to me for 10 minutes. 8 hours later, we're still on the show. Right? Anyway, that's just another edition I want to do, and I have some new surprises ready to roll out. And it never ends. And you've given me life. You've given me a purpose. I thank the Creator for giving me a purpose. And it's just a joy every day to help people to meet and unify and ascend, even if I'm just the person to introduce two people together, three people, a few people, business wise, intellect wise. There's so much that I have to post. And yes, my dear sister, you gave me information last night to post up, and I'm going to make another area of Melanin Envy and on Scurv.com. But go there and populate. Go there and drop a word because it's not as active as it should be because it's not as many people. 500 something people on a big platform like that is not going to make it crank. But we're getting there. People are showing interest. So let me know. You send that information to me at scurvmedia@gmail.com or 407-590-0755 for Melanin Envy. Send your login email address. Send me your preferred username exactly the way you want it spelled, and your temporary passcode, and we'll get you in. And as this thing grows, you'll be glad that you're there. Okay? So, much love to my sisters, much respect and power to my warrior brothers, and know that I'm here and I'm going to show you, not by talking and not by throwing memes at you, that I'm down to do the work and put time every single day, hours and hours that you see on video, and all the other hours that are even more so because of, for every hour of video that you see me do, this is the easy part, standing up somewhere talking. You don't know I can talk, but the hours that you don't see at night, in the day, over that computer screen, doing things, making phone calls, just know that I do it out of love, and this is my legacy, and this is a legacy that I hope goes beyond me to the world. So at the end of the day, we can say, hey, at least Lance has some value, or had some value to his life, and has value to his life, because wherever he is now in a transition state, he's still getting brownie points on a righteous level on this plane. And that's what I want, to make what I build here and what we build here bigger than the sum total of all of us, so we're stronger and not weaker because of it, and better off for it. That's my dream and that's my goal, because how many times we see something built, a great structure, a beautiful car, a wonderful family, and the structure burns down, the family breaks up, one person dies and it falls apart, and it's not there anymore. It's just a memory. I want what we have to continue to go on, and shielded from the negative forces that are on the other side of that fence. Lance Scurv out, on to the next one. Wherever I am, if you don't see me right now, you know that I'm working for our benefit and for our good. Much love. Peace.